Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of the Get Good Championship here at Elo Hell Esports. I am Shy Guy, joined by Chef Billy, as today we are going to dive into some action from the Rookie League. Ray Dragons taking on Catana. And as we approach the end of the season, there's a lot on the line for these teams, both kind of on the edge or on the outside looking into the playoff picture right now, but with an opportunity to change that today, Billy.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams are coming in 4-4 here in the rookie division here in season 5 of Get Good. And looking at the two teams, looks like Ray Dragons, they kind of have a main tank issue on paper. I'm looking at it, they don't really have an off tank per se. It looks like we've got two real main tank issues. One being a hog main and one being a Rhine main. I'm kind of concerned in the tank department for them as far as the synergy and the cohesion of the tank line. But it looks like their DPS line may be the carry for them, as they have a very wide-ranging pool of characters that they like to choose from. Also, having an Ash main on your team may not be the worst thing in the world, especially with the current meta going on. On the other side, Catana also coming in 4-4. Looks like from their tank line, they know what they're doing and they know what they want to do. They have the ability not only to do the double shield, which is so on vogue right now, but they also can run the Rhine Zarya or a Rhine Sigma variant of that double shield. So I'm looking at the DPS versus tank battle, Ray Dragons versus Katana right now, Shy Guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the tank matchup in general just kind of tends to be really telling when it comes to Overwatch. If those two are really kind of synergized in playing together, playing as they should be, then that can be kind of the thing that puts a team over the top, even if your DPS necessarily aren't performing up to snuff. But I definitely liked what you mentioned about kind of the flexibility that we're seeing from Katana, at least in terms of what they kind of the information they've given us about what they like to play. There's a lot of people on this team who are seem comfortable going through multiple picks, and with the way the meta is right now, which is I would say fairly open for interpretation. Teams can kind of play to their strengths and run a lot of different things, especially on these control maps. We're starting off on Oasis. I think that gives a ton of opportunity for teams to go in a lot of different directions with their comps.
Yeah, indeed. The one thing that I didn't see here, and especially giving with Gardens here in Oasis, and at some point City Center, I don't see anybody playing Winston, at least as far as the sheet tells us right now. And I think that Winston can be in a very good place, especially with the new patch that's going to be coming out with Diva getting, the buffs to
Mhm.
her. The defense matrix cooldown down to one flat, and then the actuation time of her micro missiles has also been reduced. So I think that you'll be able to lead a lot better with how you shoot the micro missiles going into it once that patch does hit. For us, it's an experimental right now, but I think that if it does happen to drop during the playoffs coming up very soon, I think that we could see a lot more of the Korean mech coming out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that would bring Dive a little bit more back into the fold than we've seen in recent times. With for the most part, as you mentioned, kind of that double shield style, the Orisa Sigma with a little bit of Ryan thrown in there occasionally, depending on the map, has kind of been the direction most teams tend to go right now. It seems to be the comp that has kind of I would say like the lowest or the highest like ease of execution. The setups there are really nice that you can get from the Orisa halts, and it just enables the rest of the team in such a great way.
Indeed, I mean the Halt Rock combo is such a massive tool for beginning to get the work towards the gravitic flux. If you can get three people into a halt and rock them, it's about 40% of an alt charge for a Sigma. So that is a huge boon for any team that's running the Orisa Sigma combo. However, I want to see what kind of ultimates will be stacked with it once you throw them up in the air. I've seen quite a few teams drop a tire underneath before they slam them down. I've
Mhm.
also seen pulse bomb be dropped into the area of effect that it comes in, and that is really what I like to see. Is how are you going to not only get them up in the air and get that half HP off of them, but what are you going to do to finish them if they aren't low enough when you get them in the air in the first place?
Yeah, my personal favorite when it comes to that is getting them all up in the air and then dropping them right on top of a death blossom from a reaper. Just straight into the meat grinder. There it can be so effective, and especially as we start out here on University for this first stage of Oasis. Reaper is definitely kind of a viable option here when we're looking at those potential DPS picks.
Indeed, I mean, it just depends on what they want to throw in here. I mean, you could even throw a Fire Barrage on the backside of it, and they will never see it coming. So there's such a plethora of opportunities to combo the Gravitic Flux should they decide to run the Sigma. But it doesn't look like we're going to get it there.
No, both these teams teasing the Rhine Zarya to start us off, which is kind of if among the most kind of classic tank lines when you look at Overwatch. I mean, it's Winston Diva and then in Rhine Zarya, and those are the two kind of OG pairings that we've seen for so long, and both teams gonna be running it here. Echo with that Symmetra teleport is gonna get them to the point first.
Yeah, just depending on where she sets up her turrets is going to decide how fast she gets working towards that photon barrier as they go ahead and clash here on the point.
Yeah, but already a great positioning advantage here for the red side. They've got control over the point for the time being. The teleporter's set over in that left-hand room, and they're just kind of zoning out the other team right now. But Munchkin Mouse going a little bit too far forward, a little too aggressive. It's dealt with by Sharky, and now that is the ghost against the rest of the team.
This could be actually a very quick fight here, as it looks like the side from Ray Dragons is going to spin this around.
No, indeed, they are trying to fight this one back, but Echo there, staying alive through that fight, the sustained DPS from the Symmetra once she gets that beam going up to full power is so difficult to deal with, and Catana come away with the first fight.
Indeed, and going into this next fight, Creep is going to have the Nano Boost available, maybe onto Samuaz on the Reinhardt to get a little aggressive and be able to push onto this point. But Marston available, having the Deadeye available from the flank, may shut down this attack before it even starts.
Indeed, right now, and Ray Dragon's trying to find an opportunity to push in, getting zoned out by this Deadeye right now. He almost catches Sharky up, but they escape into the corridor, now ready with that grab available for the Zarya on both sides. It's going to come out from Sharky first, but answered pretty quickly there. The kills, though, coming in. Samuel getting the double kill, the nano boost enough to push them over the top, make that free. They'll be able to clean this up.
Yeah, I was going to say that there might have been a little bit of overinvestment of ults there. Aniki didn't really need to pop the Coalescence there and save it for the next fight. But putting the Nano Boost onto Samuaz on the Reinhardt, that was a very nice play from them.
Yeah, and now, they still have the Blizzard and the Earth Shatter going into this next fight, so still a good opportunity here for the Ray Dragons to keep this going, but they'll have to be on point with the execution as the Reinhardt is collapsing around this corner. The wall is nice, almost able to split off someone. Echo eventually will fall, and that is an excellent play coming out from Ray Dragons to keep this momentum going.
Shatter there, kind of to zone them out and kind of stop the push of aggression coming in, is a very classic Reinhardt move, especially in that tight corridor right there. And the best thing right now is that you've got Blizzard Death Blossom, so you can freeze them and go Beyblade in there onto them. Looks like Kama will have a sound barrier to counteract the Blizzard coming forth.
Yeah, I'd like to see them maybe try and get aggressive with that off the start of this fight, really get in there and use that to their advantage, but he's saving it for the time being. Still the pin coming in from Munchkin Mouse, gonna be able to deal with the more, that's a big start, but the Reinhardt will pay with their life at that point. The Nano Death Blossom from Wolvis is absolutely massive. That's gonna keep Ray Dragon in firm control.
I mean, that's a great investment of that ult, and as we look here, we're at 80% to 72%, crossing that point right there. Sharky does have this Graviton Surge available, maybe able to pin them and keep them off the point and not able to aggressive, but you've got to watch out for Marston with the Deadeye. The flank could be deadly.
that's definitely true. The grab is out. Can they get the follow-up immediately? The Deadeye is there. Only going to find one in the meantime, though, right now for Marcin. But still, they're trying to push forward. They have to do it here and now. He needs to find these shots to turn this fight around, but it's just not happening. Overwhelming power coming in from the Ray Dragons. Even with that grab at the last second, not going to mean a whole lot.
Yep, it's just cleanup work from here on out. You know, they're going to kind of swarm in here one by one. Shatter is really down, but not finding anybody.
No, I mean, it hits a couple, but the coalescence from Aniki more than enough to keep the team up, to finish off Munch and Mouse. And Ray Dragons, they start a little bit slowly here on Oasis, but they kick it into high gear and close that one out. They go up 1-0 here.
You know, and once again, we were talking about this in the pregame, and I think that the tank line is what is really telling here for both sides. Looking at it, you know, Aniki being absolutely filthy on the Moira. The healing coming out from both Aniki and Kreef is what is keeping Ray Dragons ahead of this team right now. And you know, looking at the Ryan Zarya matchups, you know, Sharky is getting grabs on a clip about 25% faster than what Lovnaki was, but now they're going to bring out the double shield variant from the side from Catana, and I think this is exactly what you need. Having the double shields running into Ryan Zarya, you're going to have a hard time penetrating those shields, and also the stun ability of the accretion disc is going to be something that Ray Dragons is really going to have to watch out for.
Got the Ash battle as well now with Marcin into the backline trying to find shots, but Echo going to be the one to open things up on the Hanzo. The fight breaking down a little bit into this brawl at the moment, going very back and forth. Neither team really able to gain a firm advantage at the moment, and that tends to kind of be the case here on Cities, and they're hard to close out these fights. But Marcin finally finding the pick there on Torino Miz, and now we've got a bit of an advantage for Catana, but they've still got to find a way to close out this fight as slowly but surely Lovemaki getting up to this performance.
Yeah, the nano boost invested onto Samuaz was huge. Here comes the Gravitic Flux coming out right now. That's going to pick up 2.
Yeah, but the Moira just fades out of it. It's only going to be Kreef that winds up falling, but still a nice advantage here for Catana. Lovemaki making the plays here, the accretion, deal with Wolvis, and now just zoning out these remaining couple of members. Even as caught up in the jump threat trap, not going to be a problem at all.
Right now that Lord Kama swipping over to this Baptiste is probably one of the reasons why they're staying up so long. The sustain is so good, even with Hakayasha running the Zenyatta here, almost to Transcendence, so he's going to be able to go ahead and, you know, survive some of these ults that are coming through, whether it be the Bob or it be the Coalescence or the Graviton Surge that is being built up so quickly by Sharky.
And speaking of the Coalescence, there it is from Aniki, and that's a nice pickoff. Marcin is off of that high ground there. They've been able to deal with him, and the Junk Crab popping off now. The Riptire is going to be ready to go. Might not even need it, but will unleash it to try and close out this fight. Gets a double kill. Can he finish off the ace? No, Sharky going to snatch that one away, but still, fantastic fight there for the Ray Dragon.
But you went ahead and popped 4 ultimates into it, and I mean that Riptire really wasn't necessary, as they were already up 6-2 or 6-3 in that fight, and you might want to have that in your back pocket into the next fight, because 5 ultimates almost on the side of Catana, including a supercharger. You can lead in with that and really put the hurt down onto Ray Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, you can break that Reinhardt shield so quickly. Now the Ant Matrix out from Woodkama is going to give them so much power as they try to push through this choke. They force them out. Sharky gets separated from the rest of their team, and now that's a 6v4 for Catana as they look to push forward. Marcin with the Bob ready to go, but just finding the headshots into the back line onto his opposite number, and they will be able to get this.
Oh, and that's a really good flip there from them as they tie and now exceed what Ray Dragons was able to do on their first hold of the city center here. Kreef has the nano available, and I think, you know, pushing it onto Samuaz as they've done so far twice on the University, I think getting him supercharged and really into the battle, I think builds up that shatter very quickly and may be able to flip this point quickly.
Yeah, Nice, and the Bob's going to be sent in to kind of open things up for the Ray Dragons here, and now the Nano is indeed onto that. Reinhardt Samuel's going in deep, trying to find an opportunity. The Shatter is there. It's absolutely huge. Knocks 3 to the ground. They're going to be able to finish off these kills. The Ray Dragons are not done just yet here on City Center. They'll flip it back yet again.
We are looking at final fight territory here as they do capture 87% of the point here. And they're going to have Gravitic Flux. There's not really much to reload into it. You know, you may be able to fire the Dragon Strike underneath of it and combo that there. That would be a very nice fight win. But Marcin didn't invest the Bob in the last fight, so that's not available here.
No, they'll have to make do, but they've got both those support ults coming online momentarily, so still a big advantage here for Catana as long as they can execute properly, kind of avoid that grab Riptire combo that's about to be available. Sharky could be the kind of game changers here, but the tire is in, only finds one, but still, that's more than enough right now to get them the advantage they need. They press forward, and Ray Dragons, with that, they should just be able to close this out. We're 90%. I don't think anyone's going to be able to touch.
There's not enough speed to get them to the point. Somebody's going to have to swap over to Lucio. I mean, they sat with all those ultimates in their pocket, and they go ahead and lose here with 5 ultimates in their pocket. That is a shocker to me. I think that you have to invest the Gravitic Flux at least before you go down, or, you know, Zenyatta try to save themselves. That's a bit of a shocker to me. I'm very, very confused as to what happened there.
Yeah, they were kind of playing that slow, I guess, looking for the right opportunity to unleash that Gravitic Flux. The problem was it just gave enough time for Sharky to get up to that Graviton Surge once again. And once that one dropped, they really, you know, just were already kind of out of the fight at that point, trying to fight their way through choke into the Grav. And you know, well played by Ray Dragons to pull that one off. They run the Ryan Zarya the entire time, and you know the concerns that we had about the tank line may be a little bit unfounded, because I thought Samwaz and Sharky both played really well on that first map.
Indeed, and they allowed their DPS to do what DPS do, and that is get frags. I think that also, you know, Renom Niz switching over to the Junkrat really enabled a lot of the push from the tank line. You know, taking down the shields of both Munch and Mouse and Love Makey. That was just brilliant play from both the DPS. The spam damage also coming out from Marcin on the Ashe was just something that never allowed the Catana side to really get a full push other than on the backs of ultimates.
Yeah, no, you know, I liked what Katana was doing with that kind of double shield comp, especially when you don't see the Lucio on the other side. You should just have kind of the range and the poke advantage, but it doesn't play out like that. Ray Dragon's able to kind of overcome there, and they come up with a big win to start off this series. You know, both these teams sitting at 4-4 really need the win here today, and Ray Dragons off to the right foot as we are about to head into map 2. We're gonna take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for joining us here today for more of the Get Good Championship. We are in the middle of a series in the rookie division of EU. We got Ray Dragons taking on Catana. Ray Dragons coming out with map number 1. They take Oasis, but now we're headed to Junkertown, which means just kind of a dramatic shift here in terms of the style of play that is going to be necessary from these teams.
I mean, you could run Ryan Zarya here on defense, as Ray Dragons are going to be on defense, but I think that you're going to be wanting to kind of go towards more shielding here and the ability to stop the attack from coming out. We did see the tank flexibility coming out from Catana. They're not able to secure either point on Oasis, so you're going to think, how can we as a team, get around the aggression being shown by the DPS of Ray Dragons, and Renomez right now is showing up big on the Junkrat. Wolves also pretty awesome on the Ashe, getting out a lot of headshot damage into them, as well as the spam damage coming out from the Dynamite. I think that those two players right now are giving Catana fits.
No, for sure. And they definitely need to kind of come up with an answer. I'm wondering if Reno Miz is gonna try to continue running that Junkrat. It seems a little bit foolish, at least on the first point of Junkertown, but you never really know. I mean, when we're dealing with kind of the rookie division and in general, there is a lot of different things that can work. You can force kind of pocket picks if you are good enough on an individual hero, and frankly, he was on the Junkrat there on Oasis. Even when it probably shouldn't have worked, it did. So I'll be curious to see what he kind of goes back to as this series continues.
And chat seems to think that Ray Dragons are going to win. And I mean, and based upon the 2-0 result on Oasis, you kind of have to take it hand in hand because Control is its own beast, right? Here's where the real
Mhm.
technicality of team-based Overwatch comes into play is in, the escort maps, the assault maps, the hybrid maps. This is, it's 3 points to win on a Control, but, going into the other map types, we're going to see whether or not Ray Dragons does indeed have the stamina and the skill to take this win in the series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've still got a long way to go here, and Control sometimes it can be indicative of how the rest of the series is going to go, but a lot of times it really just doesn't tell you all that much, just because of how differently that map type plays from pretty much every other in the game. Much more brawly. I think there is more opportunity for those individuals, for like the DPS that we saw from Ray Dragons to really pop off and to kind of assert themselves over the series. Now, as we head into Esker, as we go to Junkertown, it starts to become much more about kind of team play, how you're approaching the map and the rotations you're making. All of those kind of things start to increase in importance.
Indeed, and I mean, looking at the sheets, Wolves on the Ash, really got a lot of value in both the maps of Oasis. I think bringing out the Southern Belle here is really going to increase those sight lines that you're looking at for here on point one. So, looking at also the support line coming out from Ray Dragons, Aniki and Kreef bring out the Ana Moira, which is not your typical support line. They work very well in tandem. Basically, Aniki had the Coalescence almost on cooldown, pumping in so much healing into her tank line and allowing, once again, the DPS to do what the DPS did.
Indeed, and now we're getting some interesting looks here as the defense rolls out. It is going to continue to be that Junkrat from Reno Miz. Like that was such a great pick on Oasis. We'll see if he can make it work this time around. But I am excited to see Sharky. They told us they are a Roadhog main, so like this is their opportunity to shine in conjunction with the Orisa. That tank line, kind of a classic one that has fallen out of favor as Roadhog. Really doesn't bring as much to the table most of the time, but still a lot of potential.
Coming out of Kreef there on the defense, going into the opposition. I'm very interested to see, because now you're losing the bubble from Sharky. So it's basically one shield right now of Samuel's versus the double shielding of Catana, and I think that this stall is going to be real here.
Oh, the assassination though. Reno Miz catches Marcin off guard a little bit, never even sees the Junkrat flanking from behind, but still, Echo managing to slowly win this war of attrition. Double shield giving them so much protection, so much ability to just free fire into the back line, and they will get this payload moving at a pretty steady pace now. Sharky, trying to buy some time, but just gonna fall back and breathe.
Looks like it's going to be the battle of Amplification Matrix, Aniki versus Lord Kama. Not too much between the two. I think Aniki may be able to set theirs out first and kind of rain damage down onto the payload as they are approaching capturing this first point very quickly.
Yeah, the last second retest does come in now for Ray Dragons, but Marcin is in the back line with a pretty clean line of sight right now, but still they've managed to fight this one back. and look to be turning it around. It is just Love Maki kind of remaining in the area of the cart. They will not be allowed to escape with their lives just headed towards the edge there. That's just mean.
That's disrespectful to the extreme coming out of Sharky.
I don't even know how you respond to that. As Love Maki, I just have to imagine you're a little bit boomed. You are fuming in the spawn right now. The insult of the solo whole hog to send them off the map there is a sight to see, and you know it does give Ray Dragons a nice chance to regroup here, set up towards defense.
The thing that I'm noticing right now is that Marston on this Widowmaker not necessarily getting into the best positions, getting picked off twice by Reno Miz on the Junkrat as entire from said person comes in, not getting much value. Echo taking down the Riptire, so that's going to be the impetus to push forward and really attack this tank line right now.
And that should just be the point. As soon as they can deal with Samuels, who now has the nano for some extra sustainability. You know, the damage reduction with that and the fortify is absolutely insane. Bob is now out to try and keep this fight going, but the trans from Taisha is really excellent, going to give them the staying power they need to push this one over the line.
You're going to have Immortality Barrier also thrown out there, so you know, as they aggress into the streets phase here of Junkertown, you've got to think that maybe they've got a bit of a power play right now, especially with Marston finally getting some payback on Arena Miz on this Widowmaker, but still getting picked out again. I think, you know, maybe pop your sights and then swap to another hero, because the sight lines here on streets phase not so good for a Widowmaker.
No, it'll be a little bit harder for Marston to find value as they move forward, but we've gotten some interesting swaps coming out now from Ray Dragon. Same was on the Reinhardt again. They were great earlier on Oasis, but Sharky going for the Winston. They want something to get back onto these snipers, put some more pressure onto the Marston, and we'll see if they can turn this fight around. They're already on the back foot thanks to that Gravitic Flux, but still trying to fight this one out. The Winston going in deep, just barely cannot finish off Love Maki. Now trying to get in the back, and Marston in a bit of trouble now. Sharky turning their attention to the supports, and they've bought a lot of space for Ray Dragons to kind of stabilize it.
And you know, you make out a really good point there. Creep with the anti-nade being thrown into the midst of Catana's attack. No answer for it right now, and Marston has done the wise thing and swapped over to the Ash, so there's going to be a little bit more in the kit, per se, to really fortify the attack right now. And, you know, there's going to have to be double shield breaking right now. Not your traditional double shield shy guy, as you see Ryan Winston. That is definitely not what you want to see. And, I mean, they've got to watch out for these anti-nades coming in from Creep, because they are not missing.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as they hit, that's the go signal for Sharky to go in. He had the nano boost, or she had the nano boost, but it's immediately deleted. The shatter out from Samuaz is responded by that Transcendence, well timed from the Zenyatta for Catana, as they're now trying to fight this one back, but losing Marston is a big source of their damage, and they can't really push into that amp matrix on the other side.
Best thing to do is just to, you know, get out of the way. Oh, that's gonna be a huge tire.
I mean, he doesn't unload it in a safe position, but doesn't even matter there, as Reno is picking up the double kill, and that's gonna be enough for Ray Dragons to continue buying time. I mean, this point B defense is turning into something incredible right now.
Indeed, and you know, looking at the Sharky already having the Primal Rage available. Also, Wolves is going to have the Bob available to kind of stop and stall the hole.
No, indeed they will, and that Nano about to come on the line as well for Creep. The Primal is just going deep into the back line. She's already been burned down pretty heavily at this point, going down below half HP, but will be able to jump back to the rest of the team and give them an early advantage. Marston finding going down to their opposite number, and the Ray Dragons now trying to push forward, press their advantage a little bit here, and you know despite the messy fight, it does seem like they're coming out on top.
It's just a little bit of a split attack here. But I mean, Echo is starting to find the range on the Archer right now and doing so much work. And I mean, this is going to be a push here. Samoas is going to have to really take care of this Echo here in the overtime, which is a burning in the meantime.
Yeah, they do get Echo, but that is going to be big as now Ray Dragon's in here to recontest the Supercharger out from Munchkin Mouse, is giving Catana some firepower as they try to push in here. They're able to deal with the main tank on the side of Ray Dragon. Samuel is down, so now an opportunity for Catana to make something happen here. They've got the Bob out and doing a lot of work with that ultimate Markson. The perfect timing, the perfect placement is exactly what Catana needs to get this across.
Despite the stall characters coming out from Ray Dragon's side, they do end up getting this point taken, and I mean in overtime. So only 90 seconds put back onto the clock for the offense here, but still, based upon what Ray Dragons was doing right there, I didn't even give them that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot due to what Echo was able to do in that prolonged fight. Able to stay alive, being the only member on the cart as overtime started was absolutely massive. It gives them a little bit more time to work with, and now Marson up on the high ground will trade his life for that of a Nikki, but not going to really be in the favor of Catana as Samoa's pushing forward. They've got Sharky back on the Zarya. That dynamic duo was so deadly earlier in the series, and they picked up right where they left off.
45 seconds left in the time bank, just about, and you've got two DPS ultimates. You've got Bob to contest the point, which you saw coming from the other side from Catana was such a deal breaker for the defense. Maybe a little bit of revenge coming back to the Wolves. Also, Pulse Bomb online for Rena as Takayasha.
Takayasha goes down early on in the fight. The Transcendence, though, is letting Catana push back in here, maintain their aggression even after losing that main tank in there. They're starting to clean this one up. Really excellent fight from them. They used their ultimate as well, and now they've got a chance to continue pushing, perhaps even finish the map if they can keep this momentum up.
And as we go through the overtime period, as everybody is well aware, that it just starts to speed up so much faster every time that you get off of it, and it's more rapid. So Bob coming in from the defense, nice placement of that, but self-destruct coming out. Picks up not only the immortality barriers, but also the Bob.
Indeed, and now Catana they handle that early onslaught from Ray Dragons. They deal with the Bob quite well, and now they've got the advantage as they're pushing forward. It's falling pretty late in this fight. That Tracer won't be back in time to really help with this final push. It's just going to be a desperate attempt to get on the cart, but Bob firing away from the back is going to seal the deal for Catana. What a push!
Based upon what we saw during the Streets phase there, Shy Guy, I did not expect that to be a full capture of Junkertown. But some good late moment heroics coming from Catana, nets them all 3 points, and now you have to think, does that deflate Ray Dragon's momentum a little bit? Because, I mean, they almost had him at a 1.5 point hold, and they end up surrendering all 3 points. Also, the shielding issue, once again, I liked when Sharky came out on the Winston, because not only did it provide a little bit of spot shielding for where he jumped in and would be able to throw his his little bubble down, but it also conserved Samua's shielding a lot. And I think that's part of the big reason why they held so long on the second point of Junkertown's. You got to think, will the shielding become an issue again? We're going to get the answers right now. I love the fact that there is the flexibility coming from Catana, that they will change up their shielding and change up their tank line. I mean, bringing Diva out was absolutely bloody awesome in the best way, because the damage mitigation, the mobility, and the self-destruct obviously is a game-changing ult, even if it only picks up one. Just the ability to really harass not only the back line but also get behind the tanks. That is what I'm looking for here.
For sure, but no Diva's gonna be in play this time around. But Ray Dragon's swapping things up, not necessarily with the tanks, because they've still only got Samoas with that shielding, but they've got the Far Mercy in play. Random is already going to town on that one, able to take out Haikasha, and that's going to mean Wolves really needs to, Marcin really needs to be the answer to that. Able to get free with the headshot. That's massive. No more healing for that Pharah, and Random is cannot survive on his own. So a great kind of fight back there from Catana, and they should be able to keep this defense going for a bit longer.
I think it's going to be coming at a premium as Hakayasha and Lord Kama playing the Baptiste Zenyatta combo respectively. I think you need a little bit more sustain, even though the Zenyatta pick was huge in the last map. I think on the defense, I think you need just a tad more healing because Hakayasha is right now very low.
Yeah, I mean, it puts a lot of pressure onto the shoulders of Lord Kama on that Baptiste. The Immortality field's got to be on point to keep everyone alive. Got the Ant Matrix out, but Ray Dragon's just kind of pushing ahead of it, but to their detriment, Samuels falls in that push, and even with the Coalescence, there might just not be enough members of Ray Dragons to make anything of this still. They're fighting it back. Sharky and Aniki chime in for a couple kills. The Roadhog pushing forward, able to deal with Munch and Mouse, and now the whole hog right into the grasp of Love Maki is not going to do a whole lot, but still forcing Catana back. And with the payload where it's at, I'm not sure that they're going to get a great contest.
Got a bit of an epiphany here. Looking at what Sharky is doing on the Roadhog, there's a lot of self-sustain for that character, and you're being able to really pour the resources into the other 4 members of your team because he can sustain himself with the breather.
Yeah, a great recontest coming out there from Catana. They tried to get in the halt into the Gravitic Flux was really well done, but the sustain is there for Ray Dragons. They pushed through point A, and we wondered if they might be a little bit boomed after giving up all 3 points, but they've come out kind of possessed here on the attack of Junkertown. They're rolling through right now, have a lot of momentum at their backs.
Indeed, and we do see Reno Miz going back to the very filthy junk wreck that he displayed on Oasis. So, Shatter Bob available for the offense here, running into a Transcendence and a Death Blossom, depending on where Echo teleports or gets into a position to drop it in on them. This could be a huge turn of momentum here.
Yeah, he tries to drop in, only going to be able to get Aniki before trading that directly for their life. So Echo goes down a 1-for-1, but losing the Moira is pretty massive. There's a lot of the sustain gone for the Ray Dragons, but still, Sharky and the Nemoz are continuing this fight. The whole hog now out, able to deal with Munchmouth and Love Maki. Even through the Transcendence, they find those kills, and that is just a game changer right there.
That was so much damage. Even the Transcendence healing was not able to keep them up. And with the Bob thrown into the mix as well, there's just no answering that. This is going to be a huge amount of time to rest on the point C. 4 minutes and 17 seconds. Aniki available with the Coalescence. Keep the team up and maybe get a little aggressive with it as well. Creep is still hitting these nutty anti-nates. That is the reason why Echo's Death Blossom was unsuccessful, because it was antied as soon as he dropped it.
Indeed, and that's going to keep kind of on the back foot here. Echo is going over to the Doomfist to try and make some of those individual plays, but the Coalescence out from Aniki is just letting Ray Dragon surge forward with impunity at this point. They cannot be stopped right now. Samuel just charging recklessly straight into the front line, and it's working. The team is keeping him up right now, and they are just rolling through Junkertown.
So, Sound Barrier and Shatter available to the defense here. They're going to have to really, get some ultimate value going up. Otherwise, it's going to be like a 6 ultimate fight coming up very quickly.
Oh, the Shatter is massive. Shuts down the nano boost onto Samwaz, and they're eventually able to burn down that Reinhardt even through the damage reduction. Love Maku just going off on this Zarya now, already has the grab built up after that swap here on point C, and now is the time for the resurgence for Catana. They need to at the very least kind of take some of this time bank away if Ray Dragons are gonna finish out.
I mean, a minute 45 already basically taken off so far. Echo pulling out the Doomfist right now to harass not only the tank line, but also get a little bit of extra damage in the back. Shatter coming out, picking up 2 for the offense right now.
Oh, but the pincer play coming in from the Ray Dragons is just beautiful. They send Sharky and Aniki off, underneath the underpass. They're able to kind of get the jump on Catana. I'm not sure that anyone's going to get out here to recontest. Just barely there with the fade is Hakaisha, and the teleport not in time for Echo to keep it going. 3:05 on the clock as we go into extra rounds. 2:05 when they finish the map there. But an excellent advantage now for the Ray Dragons as they look to go up 2-0 in the series.
Right now, it's a matter of healing. That's what I'm seeing on my end, is that Hakaisha cannot play the Zenyatta and be expected to heal to the level of what you're seeing. We saw a Mercy Moira against a BAP Zenyatta. They're going to win that healing battle every single time, even with the single target focusing of Aniki on the Mercy. Ana, the Creef's Ana, is absolutely pumping the the healing out onto their team. And as I say, Hakaisha right now pulling out the Moira. We're gonna go with the Moira Lucio, very standard healer core. I think that they'll be able to sustain a lot better now, and the stubbornness to stay on the Zenyatta that long, I think, is the part of the reason why Ray Dragons just rolled through Junkertown.
Yeah, I mean, if you are going to be on the Zen, it really relies on a couple things. One, you just have to kind of be hitting your shots, because your value is going to be coming more from your damage than anything else, and your team needs to be ready to focus people down when those Discord orb calls come through. That wasn't necessarily happening all that much for Catana, so they'll go for something a little bit more sustainable here with the Ana Baptiste. Now they are going to have to deal with Renomis on the Mei this time around, which could be brutal on this first point, just for stall potential for the opportunity to win a fight just with an individual wall. But for now, though, no one really getting too low. Everybody just playing this slowly. The shield wars coming through, but now Aniki gets caught off a little bit, separated from the rest of the team. They've traded a healer for a healer, but with the spawn advantage, that's going to ultimately favor Catana unless something changes dramatically in the next few seconds. But losing Samwaz, probably the nail in the coffin here for this early hold.
I mean, that's a great Baywall coming up from Renomis right there, halfway to the Blizzard. But now it's all full speed ahead. I mean, Aniki's going to have to really get behind and get back with her team and decide on a point to recontest here. Sights coming out from Marcin, and they're going to know exactly where to push into. Love Maki might be able to drop a Gravitic Flux from a nice position and really get this move going forward.
I mean, that's an ultimate that could just even prevent the last second recontest entirely if it comes in right. There's the flux. It only gets the Reinhardt, the ice block, enough to save Renomis, but still the supercharger there for Catana as they're trying to close out this fight, and they're gonna be able to do it. The barrage for good measure at the end, and they get through point A. They do have to commit quite a bit, but you really have to do that when you're in this position. You need to continue and extend this push.
Now Echo swapping over to the Hanzo that he found a lot of value in here in the Streets phase. Once he swapped over to that, Marcin's still sticking with the Widowmaker here, looking to get behind the spawn where they come out of the little entrance to the third point here and maybe able to get picks. There's a huge pick
Yeah, what an angle there. He finds just the right position to take down Reno Miz, and now no May on the recontest here is going to be big, especially with that Blizzard nearly online, but Sharky answering back, deals with the Widow on the other side, a nice hook, and now the whole hog comes in. He will eventually fall, but the damage might have been done. Wolves and Samoas closing out this fight. The Bob is on point, and Ray Dragons put a stop to that push, but not after giving up a considerable amount of distance.
I thought that the initial pick onto Nina Miz's May was going to be the absolute killer for them, but I think they were playing a little bit too passively on the point. I think that that Love Maki had Wolves and Reno Miz and Creef very low and did not push forward with the the kinetic grasp and the accretion and the experimental berry. He could have pushed really into them and taken both of them out. That Bob would not have been available. They had him down to like 25 health. I'm not sure why they didn't go ahead and push and assassinate those two characters.
Yeah, maybe a bit of a missed opportunity for Catana there, but now they've given themselves a chance, which is, when you only have a minute to push, getting halfway through point B, you're ultimately going to be pretty happy with that. But now they've got to deliver on the defense if they want to avoid going down 2-0 in this series. Ray Dragons have been excellent so far, and I'm wondering if in this situation they might actually play this Bastion.
I don't see why not, especially with the healing that we're seeing once again. Acacia right now onto the Zenyatta.
Oh, they just delete the Bastion though. That's so good from Catana. They don't even let Miz get set up there. The halt was beautiful coming out there from Munch and Mouse. Excellent play by her. And now they've got, Ray Dragons on the back foot a little bit here. They're going to have to fall back into spawn, regroup entirely here. And, at the moment, they don't really have an answer to Marcin on this Widow. These sightlines so oppressive at times.
Taking two heads out in the very first fight. And, I mean, they've already taken about a minute off the time bank here, so this is great work coming out from them.
No, indeed, they are on the right track for this defensive effort right now. We'll see if Sharking can get anything done on this leg. On a very solo mission at this point, just looking for the early hook. Does hit Love Maki, but that's not the target you're looking for. The grasp is going to be able to keep them alive more than easily there at that point. But Marcin caught off, doesn't notice Wolves is on the flank angle there. He cannot survive. And now that's an opening for Catana to for Ray Dragons.
Indeed, and Ray Dragons, doing the right thing, committing a lot of push here, throwing the immortality there to make sure they stay up. Echo will have this duplicate available, deciding to go ahead and hold it for now, as a little bit of a turn in the fight here. Catana really, oh my goodness, what a shot coming from Marcin again.
Absolutely insane stuff, and that's going to give Catana the chance to regroup or to fight this. They were on the back foot. They were almost out of it here, but now this point is under their control once again. They get the late kill there onto Sharky, who is just kind of hiding behind enemy lines, and now things starting to look pretty desperate here for Ray Dragons. They need one fight to push it across point A, but then they've still got to continue that push forward into point B. So a lot on their shoulders here right now is Echo in on the flank, looking for an opportunity to find an assassin.
Creef versus Marcin, and the healer wins that time, and Echo gets spot out by Reno Miz. So you've got Whole Hog going into this. I mean, just a extravaganza right now being put out by both teams.
And the Transcendence even going to be committed here by Acacia as they want to keep fighting this. It's a 3v3 or 4v4 on the cart at the moment, but Flexin from Love Maki just might be able to save the fight here for Catana. It was looking like it was going sideways for them, but now they seem to have it in the bag. Nothing at all that Samoas can do to keep this from going, and no one else even in the area to trigger the overtime.
Based upon what we saw, and especially the time banks coming out from Ray Dragons, that 1 minute was more than enough time for Katana to get the space that they needed and the progress at the point. And it just looks so disjointed. Sharky changed off tanks like 3 times during that match. Went from starting out on the Hog, went to Sigma, went back to Hog, and just there was no cohesion. There was no real defined point of what they wanted to do.
Yeah, and that's just such excellent resilience that we see coming out there from Catana on that map. They had such a huge disadvantage going into those extra rounds, but they're still able to clutch up when it matters most. They pull off the full hold there on the defense. Excellent stuff. And now we're all tied up, headed into map 3. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more action here from the GitGud Championship. Welcome back, everybody, to more action here at the GitGud Championship. We're in the rookie division of EU, and we are all tied up with Ray Dragons and Catana headed into map number 2. Billy, this has been an insane series so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at what we saw on Oasis, it was a 2-0 sweep from Ray Dragons, and the DPS really shining the day for them there. However, coming into Junkertown, both teams capturing full 3 points on their attack phase. However, even with just a scant minute in the time bank, Katana was able to get it halfway through point B of Junkertown, and on their defense, facing a 2.5 minute deficit, they were able to full hold and take the point there from Ray Dragons and tying us up. It looks like the tank lines right now. It was something that I pointed to and alluded to in our beginning, and even after point 1. Looking at what we saw there, Love Maki right now, probably one of my candidates for MVP of the match on the Sigma, getting gravitic fluxes at a pretty steady clip, and not only that, but the kinetic grasp mitigating so much damage, almost working as a diva player in that sense, and the experimental shielding being thrown out and really fortifying what Munching Mouse is trying to do on the Orisa.
No, for sure. But the thing about that is the tank line on the other side struggled a little bit there on Junkertown. I think Samoas and Sharky didn't pop off in the same way that we saw on Oasis earlier on, and part of that was just purely kind of the map and the heroes that they like to play. I mean, it's been pretty much entirely Reinhardt from Samoas for most of the series. We've seen the Zarya and a lot of the Roadhog out from Sharky. She's been great on it, but at times a less than optimal pick. This time on Junkertown, though, they're going with the more traditional, the more we're on Blizzard World now. That's a different map than Junkertown. They're going with the Orisa Sigma, the more traditional duo here. The two teams kind of swapping their styles now with Munchkin Mouse and Love Maki on that red Zarya.
I mean, I like it for the aggression that can be shown here. You're going to have to watch out for the spam damage, not only from the Dynamite, but also the Junkrat spam coming in. But Echo hopefully will be able to get some damage and avoid the Southern Belle, because she has been a marksman all day. And as I call it out, there goes Discord Orb did go onto Echo, and Wolves closed it out.
And that's the caster curse for you. But Heart there with the immediate res will bring this back to a 6v6. But Echo probably playing a little bit more carefully now when that Discord Orb is on them. They've got to be incredibly cautious at this point. And so far, not a really easy entry point for the side of Catana as they try to push in here. Marcin has dealt with Wolvis, and that's going to give Echo a little bit more room to operate in potentially, but still, the kills seem to be going in the direction of, Ray Dragons at this point, and they hold off on that first.
Munching Mouse early in the fight there, in the mid fight, really kind of stymied their advance. You've got to have Munching Mouse there for the shielding. Also, I think that Hart, the substitute coming in for Hakaisha, on this Mercy, looking at the pharmacy duo, they've got to get their sight angles and lines of sight much better. Kind of surprise them instead of just trying to run headlong into them.
No, for sure, but not even gonna have that mercy or that aura anymore to really tether to. The art still sticking with the mercy for the time being, but now with that fire strike, Munchin Mouse opens it up in a big way. The rest of the team surging forward behind them, and that's gonna be it. Catana, they the first time not working out so well. Second try is the charm. The Rip Tire does nothing. The Immortality Field just perfect from Lord Kama.
Very quick reaction time, like less than a second to get that immortality barrier up, because he was hiding behind the sign there above the point, and yeah, gone. Absolutely deleted. What a play from Lord Kama on this Baptiste. Very, very skilled from this young player here, and I'm really liking this aggression being shoved forward.
Yeah, the Gravitic Flux now out from Sharky, though, so is going to give Ray Dragons an opportunity to push forward, but the grab can't save you from that beam. Love Mach getting the kill there, and now unleashing the grab forces out the Transcendence and the Immortality Field, so a lot of resources being spent by Ray Dragons just to kind of hold their ground at this point.
I mean, it's still full steam ahead on the payload. Samoas, though, getting a lot of value on this Orisa. I'm really liking what I see there. Supercharger could shore up the defense here should they decide to use it.
Indeed, and they've put a stop to the cart for the meantime, but now the re-engage, just about to come in, but they don't really have the damage. Marcin has been kind of cordoned off from the rest of the team for the time being, but now 6v6 going to come in, the Widow finding heads. Creef has fallen, and that's an opening pick that will be big for Catana as they look to push forward here. Marcin very, very low, finally getting some healing, but in the meantime, Munchin Mouth goes down. Sharky back over onto the Reinhardt for the first time in this series, I believe, and that has been the recipe now for Ray Dragons to retake control.
Looking at Echo, swapping off of the Hanzo, getting to the Tracer, and has Pulse Bomb available into the point. Marcin deciding that the French ballerina is no longer the play de jeu, going over to the Southern Belle, and I like this change as the spam damage in the line of sight, kind of similar to a Widow's, but so much more in the kit.
Yeah, way more sustained damage going to be coming out now from Marcin. He's been great on that Ash so far. The double kill with the Pulse Bomb. Picture perfect placement there from Echo. And even as the Rip Tire comes in, it's still actually now flipping back in the favor of the Ray Dragons there. They're able to turn this, but Marcin gets on a little bit of a flank, and only Samoas remains on the carpet. That's enough to keep it from going anywhere.
You're looking at 3 ultimates on the side of the attackers here from Catana. Almost 4 going into the defense. This immortality barrier should be placed right behind the point and just start throwing it down the corridor here as we're looking at it from the top-down view.
Okay, we've got the trades of the amplification matrices at this point, but that's going in the favor of Catana finally here. They're able to execute with that Baptiste ultimate and push forward, but on the other side, still so many ultimates about to be on.
Marcin, might be able to throw the Bob kind of preemptively and kind of stymie them from getting here and being able to contest the point.
And doesn't even wind up needing it, or actually might, because Samoas gets back there in the nick of time, and now the Transcendence from Creef giving the Ray Dragons an opportunity to make something of this fight. The Junkrat laying in so much damage right now is pushing Catana back, in an excellent last second hold coming through. The timing was perfect, and they're able to sustain through that fight.
And it was the Transcendence, and once the Transcendence went out, that's when Aniki decided to throw out their Immortality Barrier, and that was just such a huge amount of sustain. There was no way that the offense was going to be able to push through all of that, and the spam damage coming from both Reno Miz and Wolves is absolutely decimating the front line of Catana right now.
Catana now down to their last push after what had been a pretty good attack so far. They're on their last legs here on Blizzard World, with the Riptire bearing down on the Immortality field is going to be able to keep them alive. Echo getting that Riptire, saving the day here, but that Amp Matrix out from Aniki is making it so hard to push forward. Catana cannot approach the cart right now. Heart able to make it back in at the last second, but absolutely no way to turn that fight around, and that is where the payload will stop.
To within a meter 89 of capturing point B. So as it stands, is it a good push? We'll find out. I think that Echo swapping so many times off the DPS may have been a bit of a detriment. Staying with the Tracer, they didn't really have an answer for the Tracer. The speed and the ability to recall and get back out of harm's way. Super squishy character, was, as we all know, but he was playing it to perfection. So I really think that it's a matter of sustain and getting the right composition down here for the defense from Catana. It's going to be that's going to be the trade out as we hear the voice of God in our ear telling us about the fun toys here in Blizzard World. And so I'm looking, what we've seen on attack, it depends on how aggressive does Ray Dragons want to get here. Do they bring out the Ryan Zarya as we've seen, and it's worked quite well for them?
I think they do. I mean, maybe Sharky goes over to the Roadhog again because she's really favored that pick so far. But once you're on the attack, given their style that they've shown us throughout this series, I think they kind of just want to be playing as aggressively as possible. Throw all this sustain in on top of those two tanks, Aniki and Kreef on the Moira and Anna as your healing duo is so much ability to keep those tanks alive. And we might have a bit of an issue. Sharky just now locking in the Zarya, so we'll be a bit behind the rest of the team, but they'll wait up and settle into this attack.
You bring out the pharmacy again from the defensive side of Catana, and Wolves has proven that they are very willing and able to take down a pharmacy duo.
And Echo in a weird spot there, going over for a very aggressive angle. Not a lot of protection from the geometry of the map. Heart wasn't even with them at that time, so they lose the Pharah. They can't get the res off, and now that's the opportunity for the Ray Dragons to push in aggressively. They don't really have to worry about that damage coming in from on high. They can focus straight in onto this tank line. And despite some heroics, Lovemaki chiming back in and finding an answer, but will fall eventually. Heart is down as well, and that should just be it unless something insane happens here from Echo.
I mean, Echo is putting some real damage into them and getting quite a few kills into the mix, but I think he's going to get hunted down. Indeed, does that happen? So, progress going to be captured here. 5 minutes 13 seconds as we head into the streets phase here of Blizzard World. And you've got to think, the Pharah pick, getting picked out first in the beginning of that map led to their ultimate demise, and you've got to stop picking your comfort pick or the pick that you want to do and go more meta and worry about what's coming into you rather than what you want to play. That's something that I've seen a lot in the lower elo divisions, not only here on PC, but also on the console scene. You'll see people pick what they want to pick and what really needs to be picked.
It's, that losing that first fight going to be a big setback here for Catana. They do manage to get the early pick onto the Junkrat for Ray Dragons, but still, that's just going to buy them a little bit of time as the attackers just regroup for the time being. Sharky going in way deep, trying to chase down Echo, gets her target, but the res is there, and it really does nothing for the team.
That's a little something as a Sharky did gain her Graviton Surge there, so maybe a little bit of foolhardy push ahead, but I mean they did get their ultimate up in the fight. Looking like almost a 6 ultimate fight coming up here. All they're gonna have to do is press Q and it's gonna be over.
Yep, Marston gonna be the first one to press Q, but summarily slept in the backline. Kreef able to deal with that, but still the rest of the fight not going in their favor at all. Ray Dragons just gonna get pushed away, but they don't commit anything to that fight. They hold on to their ultimates, which means they will continue to have an opportunity.
going to have a lot of options here from the side of Ray Dragons. Grav Tire could be on the table. Grav Coalescence could also be extremely useful, especially if they decide to go ahead and aggress into the Graviton Surge. So a nice little high ground rotation coming from them. Lord Maki meets him up there, but he doesn't have very much backup. He's going to have to watch out.
And the Grav just going to isolate Lord Maki along with Lord Kama. They are going to eventually pull at least the Baptiste. Will Maki making it out with life for the time being, but still things breaking down into a very chaotic fight at the moment, and the payload is continuing to push forward. There's the shatter in from Samoas. Nikki finishes off, or Kree finishes off the kills there. And now with Heart and Echo isolated from the rest of the team, they're in an awkward spot. They've got to find a way to contest the cart here at the tail end. She's barely getting there as Munchkin Mouse, but she is deleted in an instant. No one else could touch. And Ray Dragons, they finish it off there on Blizzard World. They get the 2-1 victory, and that's their lead in the series as well.
Indeed, and man, what a show of aggression there coming from Ray Dragons, putting their stamp onto the fight. And it was just nothing that they could do to really stop what was being shown from Ray Dragon. So, I mean, great individual plays.
Yeah, that was just I think this is a case where the series is starting to shift back to Ray Dragons, in part because map number 2, I think given the style we've seen out of them with Samoas playing primarily that Reinhardt, I don't think Junkertown was the map for them. They were completely losing kind of the poke battle, but here on Blizzard World, they're able to play the style that they want. They're able to get aggressive. They're able to push right into the face of Catana. And it works out really, really well for them. They get a great hold on point B, and then at that point, it's kind of just trivial in terms of finishing it off, getting the payload over the line.
Yeah, and for the DPS of Ray Dragons, there's so many places to hide. I think that's one thing that I'm watching them do. They like to get in there, kind of get a couple quick pokes in, and then aggress back and get out of the line of sight of the healing and of the damage that's coming into them. I think Redom is on this Junkrat right now is absolutely showing up and showing out and making life hell for Catana right now. Echo needs to decide which hero they are going to play instead of swapping, 3-4 times during a map because you're not building up that ultimate charge fast enough if you're not going to be able to contest with what is being presented to you. So I'd like to see a little bit more stability on the DPS from Catana. And then, looking at Ray Dragons, I mean, the aggression. I think that's the biggest difference right now is that Junkertown, the architecture of the map just didn't favor them. And I think that's why Katana went ahead and won that. So we needed to see either a shift of philosophy coming from Katana or, making sure that the compositions that you're throwing out there, you can't throw out the Pharah out there anymore. That's 3 maps in a row that we've seen Pharah come out and get absolutely dominated by Wolves from Ray Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit to Wolves there, though, because in theory, breaking out the Pharah can be a really strong pick there, especially on that first point of Blizzard World. It is not a bad place to play the Pharah, and in theory, it's a great counter to the Junkrat on the other side that has been giving you so much trouble. And I don't even I don't hate the pick. I don't think necessarily the Pharah itself is the problem, but especially on that defense, the positioning just has to be a little bit smarter from Echo. Like we've already seen that Wolves is incredibly dangerous and incredibly capable of just knocking you out of the sky. So you just can't give those opportunities over to that hit scan DPS on the side of Ray Dragons. And they make some mistakes. It comes back to bite them, but still, I think there's a semblance of like a plan that works there. But I don't know if we're going to see the Pharah again. I mean, Hart now swapping out was the Mercy player there, and it doesn't work out. Now Hakaisha back in, so we'll see what the changes are going to be for Catana as we head into map number 4. It's going to be Volskaya as their choice here, where they'll try to make their last stand.
And I certainly hope that Echo has learned their lesson on this Pharah because, as I said, across all three maps, Pharah has been taken down by wolves each and every time. As Haikaisha does come back in on the healer core, so maybe that will uh, signal that they're not going to bring out the Echo. There's so many other heroes that you can bring out. I mean, Echo's Hanzo has been fantastic.
Mhm.
So I think that's one area that we can look to that, you know, the shield break potential of said character would be fine. Maybe bring a McCree out. Maybe bring out your own. Uh, maybe bring out your own Junkrat. That
Mhm.
might also be a good mirror comp, especially with the shield break potential. Because if they keep bringing out the singular shield, as we've seen a lot of times from Ray Dragons, once you bust down Samuel's shield, they are left absolutely defenseless, and that's when you can press the attack him.
Yeah, in general, I would like to see more of that kind of poke coming out from Katana, more of that focus on the shield because it's definitely something that you can punish on the other side, especially when Ray Dragons they aren't running a Lucio with the Reinhardt, which is what you would kind of generally expect out of these kind of brawlier compositions. They're running the high sustain options with kind of the Moiras, the Annas, the Baptistes throughout this series, and Katana just hasn't been able to punish it. Samuels hasn't really been the focus. It seems like for a lot of this series, and that could be an answer here for Katana as they look to turn things around.
And I think that the long sustained battle right now is being won by Ray Dragons. I think that if Katana's going to have a chance moving forward in the series, you're going to want to look at getting into Creef on the Ana because the anti-nades coming from Creef right now are absolutely clinical when they
Mhm.
go into the back line, and obviously the sustain isn't there. Lord Kama really mitigating those anti-nades with a well-timed immortality barrier. But once again, Creef is really going unchecked in the back line for Ray Dragons. I think that's one area you can really focus on. Another area, even a Torbjorn to watch the flanks could be something that Katana could bring out. The Molten Core obviously being a very wonderful space gaining or space denying ultimate, which is another thing that happens is that, when you see Ray Dragons really aggressive, once they start their push forward, once they take down one of the supports, they are pushing in as a unit. And Molten Core could be one of those things that denies not only the space, but also gives you a quick little mental and physical reset for the side from Katana. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they bring out on the defense, as we do have a side swap. As Katana have decided they want to go on the defense here, and I like the choice there because they want to see what kind of a benchmark they're going to be up against once they go onto the attack phase.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the way teams tend to go. You want to know what you have to accomplish going into your attack. It kind of changes in certain ways the how you approach it. I mean, if you know that getting a single point is all you need, then you can build up those ultimates and you can really play things slowly and patiently. If you come out and you just get rolled on the first defense, then you got to pick up the pace a little bit. So I definitely think that there's a slight advantage to going second on the attack here, especially on these assault maps where you could have a full hold. You could have an insanely fast time where you have two fights and then the map is over. There's a wide spectrum there with assault in general. So just the more knowledge you have going into that second round, the better.
Indeed. The other thing is I haven't seen Brig. I think I've seen
Hmm.
Lucio once. I think that the speed could be a boon to either team right now because they're playing so very slow.
Hmm.
I think that mobility right now could be something that would tip the balance in either team's favor. I think Katana could be very useful bringing out a Lucio, bringing a Bap Lucio. There's nothing wrong with that. You have the sound barrier. That's something that is a game-changing ultimate, especially if you're starting to get boomed on a defensive hold. The AOE healing is already good, and Lord Kama on this Baptiste is pumping out the heals. I see it, as we look around the map. The heals are there. Um, I just think that maybe a more sustained heal, generally, and being able to amp up the heals, could be something that would help Katana out here. And
Yeah,
I mean,
and
from
I
Ray
mean,
Dragon,
I think the speed boost would also be huge for them. It would let you like effectively kite away from the aggressive, brawl pushes that we've seen from Ray Dragons. With no Lucio on the other side, there's no way for someone like Samwaz to like close the gap. If you're speed boosting away, the Reinhardt's never gonna be able to get into range to fight like they want. So that's definitely an option here for Katana as they look to make a comeback. They've got to find some kind of answer here, otherwise they are staring down the barrel of a 3-1 loss. And at this point in the season, you kind of can't afford it. If you want to be making that top six, getting yourself into playoffs outright, I really don't think either of these teams can afford a loss.
I mean, 4-4, both coming in to today's series, and I've, you know, to stay in the same vein of a Lucio, you can also aggress into a team that's trying to kite away. If Samlaws decides to keep playing the Orisa on the defense, you can speed into an Orisa. She doesn't move very fast, even despite having 4 legs.
For sure. This is definitely an opportunity here for Katana. They're not going to change things up very dramatically when it comes to this defensive composition. They're putting Echo back on the Hanzo, which I think has been a good pick for them throughout the series. Well, we'll see what kind of work they can get done. Able to deal with Reno Miz immediately off the bat, so no teleporter shenanigans going to be coming through just yet. We'll see if that pick continues to come through.
Pick coming out from Echo onto the Symmetra, so no teleporter available going into it.
Yeah, for sure. But now they finally regrouped, so a little bit of a stall that comes through there by virtue of that first pick. Burns about 30 seconds off the clock, which is a nice start. And now Marcin going to town, has a nice angle on that high ground, able to deal with the Niki, forces out the resurrection. But Sharky up on the flank, coming to the high ground, just able to put a lot of pressure down onto Marcin right now, and eventually falling down into that mega health pack room. Very, very aggressive plays from the Zarya. Eventually trades out for the Zenyatta, but that could be an opening here for the Ray Dragons to push forward.
Looking at what we see there, a nice immortality barrier coming out from Lord Kama, kind of doing a little back of the point stance here.
And Ray Dragons, they're just going to get point A relatively quickly. They do it without a whole lot of resistance at the end of the day here from Catana, who now are really in a tough spot because they don't have a lot of ultimates in the bank right now, or really anywhere close. Love Maki, the only one that's really getting to that area, and we've got a Shatter nearly there, a Niki getting very close to that nano boost, and we've seen throughout the series throwing that down onto the Reinhardt can be insanely potent.
Indeed, Echo really needs to get these dragons up quickly.
Oh no, Ray Dragons, they go for the teleporter play around the right hand side, but Reno Miz loses kind of the 2v1. The team can't quite get there in time to keep him safe, so they'll have to fall back after that first attempt. The Symmetra is done here. It's back to the Junkrat, and I love this pick. It's been so great for them so far throughout this series, so why would you change anything?
I mean, no reason really to change anything.
Now the Gravitic Flux comes out, only lifting up Sharky, but in the meantime, Aniki has been dealt with. Maki will be traded out, but a 5v5 favors the defense in these situations, especially when Echo can get in on the side, hit the nice headshot, deal with that Junkrat threat, and now give them an opportunity to just force back this attack.
Yeah, now they do have a couple of support ultimates online. Hakaish on the Zenyatta will have the Transcendence available. Almost 5 ultimates online for the defense, and you got to think Hakaish is going to have to hold this Transcendence for the Graviton Surge from Sharky, as she is coming very close up onto that ultimate. I don't know if they're going to have anything really to pair with it. maybe a nanoed Rhine on Samuraz, but we'll see.
Yeah, for me though, if anything, I'm looking for a Nikki to hit the biotic grenade that can completely negate the transcendence potentially. Love Maki now on the Diva. The defense matrix could be big, could eat the grab or the bio nade. So that could be a big thing to watch in this fight as the kickoff. The grab is down, the trans in response, the bio nade is not there, but still the nanoed Reinhardt does get the shatter on the line, but still Samuels cannot quite finish off any of those kills. Still a slight advantage for the side of Ray Dragons, but can they make anything out of this fight without their main tank?
It really depends on how much work Freedom is and Wolves can get done. As I say, that dynamite damage coming in on Haikaisha, and that is what you need to see. Not much in the way of really defensive ultimates other than a shatter maybe coming into the aggression that's being shown right now. That is a lot of damage going into Samwise, and he goes down.
Yeah, that dynamite from Marcin is absolutely perfect. And the shield just not able to keep the Reinhardt up, but traded out immediately for Munchin now. The res is denied from Creep there, so that's a big deal for the side of Catana as they continue this defense. They'll be able to hold things off for a little while longer as some staggered pushes coming through here from the Ray Dragons. They need to back off, just fully regroup. They kept taking kind of a staggered fight there.
I mean, and the healing right now being shown by Lord Kama, keeping up the team is one of the big difference makers right now that I'm seeing from Catana. You know, the angles that they are getting is absolutely huge. Bob going to be invested here by the side from Ray Dragons.
Yeah, but not doing a whole lot right there. A nice shatter block there from Samuels, but still, just fire coming in from all angles. The Reinhardt cannot withstand it in that moment and will ultimately fall. Still, the commit is coming through here. The grab, the nano onto Sharky is absolutely massive. The resin onto Samuels, making sure that they'll have the full team here to deal with any late staggers, but it's only Marcin anywhere near the point they are dealt with, and Ray Dragons punch on through.
Yeah, but I mean, depending on what way you want to look at it. You know, they started out with a huge time bank, and the stall coming from the side from Catana was absolutely massive. I mean, taking it down to 1 minute 17 seconds, I would call that a success if you are the side from Catana. But you know, the ultimates being used from Ray Dragons was, you know, spaced out so very eloquently, if I say so myself. I really liked seeing what they brought out there. You know, they staggered and stacked their ultimates in such a way that, you know, Catana never got a chance to catch their breath. I mean, it was almost full out on action for about 3 minutes during that fight. You know, the staggered, you know, ingress from Ray Dragons really kept the pressure up, and I like to see that from an attacking team.
Yeah, and I loved actually kind of the slight change that they've made to their composition here on Volskaya. Running Creef on this Mercy, it gave them a chance to, you could lose a member in that fight, and they lost Samuels very early on in that you know, final fight on point B, but the res able to bring that back into numbers when otherwise on assault you usually have to win these fights very cleanly. The res gives you a little bit of wiggle room. I love to see it. Now though, Echo on their namesake hero at this point. This is a first for them in this series, so we'll see what they can get done, but Munchin Mouth already dealt with at the choke, cannot quite break through there. Too much damage coming down onto the Reinhardt, and without the main tank, they'll just have to fall back a little bit for right now.
Yeah, this is a tactical reset time, especially as you lose one of your main damage dealers in Marcin. And I really like to see, you know, the full pullback and then go at it again. I know you lose a little of space here. I get that. But, you know, the Zarya v Zarya battle right now, Sharky really using the bubbles to more effect and getting that charge up. I mean, blowing like a brick right now.
absolutely, and now pushing forward, trying to get aggressive, put some pressure down onto Munchie Mouse, but now the push is coming through from Catana. Munchie Mouse caught a little bit away from the rest of the team, but still, it's Samuwas who will fall first. The early coalescence now out from Hakaisha is giving them a chance to get so aggressive. They can push right on in the double kill for the Moira. Everything that you want. That's why you run the ball. Getting that fast ult online is so powerful.
Not only that, but we alluded to this, before we went into this map. Lord Kama is now on the Lucio, and they were able to speed on to the defense, and they're going to have a pretty almost similar time going into point B here. Tire and Amplification Matrix online, also Bob now also online for the defense. But you've got you've got Graviton Surge, you've got Sound Barrier, and also Bob to negate Rage Dragon's Bob.
Yeah, we're just going to see a lot of these ultimates coming out very early. Both grab the Riptire negated by that Immortality Field, and the kills are coming through for Catana. The duplicate is ready for Echo if they want to be able to train. Dragons, and I don't think anyone else is going to make it back here. Reno Miz on the Junkrat trying to do their best, but just cannot quite get the concussion mine over the top, and that is a push right there.
Shy Guy, I think we both should give ourselves a little bit of a pat on the back there, as we both called for the Lucio. And once again, speed kills. My parents told me that as I was learning how to drive. Speed kills. And yeah, speed absolutely kills. Being able to not only throw up the Immortality Barrier in the middle of it, but be able to amp the heals in the middle of that Graviton Surge that came out from Sharky. She had a great one. The dueling grabs was absolutely the right call. Reno Miz even threw in the Tire into the midst of that. The Immortality Barrier and the amping of the heals is what kept their team up right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's clutch plays coming out from the supports there on the side of Catana, and it's given them a massive advantage going into these extra rounds here on Volskaya. I mean, over 3 minutes extra for them in the time bank when it comes to their attack. But for now, they'll set up on the defense, and Echo going for this May pick. Another kind of swap of the DPS here for that incredibly flexible player on the side of Catana, given all the things we've seen them play throughout the series. But here especially, I like the May for this first point defense.
Still going to call out the Zenyatta, because we didn't see the focus fire coming out on Discord orbs. But, as we all know, Transcendence is a very real life changer. But Maki goes down early in the fight, despite the Immortality Barrier.
I don't think they didn't expect the Roadhog that time around, and the hook, it connects, and Samuel's there to help with the follow-up as well. But now a Reckless Charge is going to cost them their life, but still, the spawn advantage going to favor Ray Dragons, but the numbers, they are not on their side at this point. And Love Maki getting back into the fight quickly with the D.Va. Somehow they stabilize.
I really like the D.Va call here too. It's the mobility, not only to get back to the point, but also to change the eye level of the attackers. You're going to be having not only Marcin, but also the D.Va player from Love Maki could also change the eye level there.
For sure, they have had control of the high ground for the most part. Sharky on the flank here with the Roadhog, looking for the hook, not able to connect this time around, but the Nano onto Samuwas is giving them the opportunity to push forward. The Reinhardt will ultimately fall, but still, this fight just incredibly chaotic, and Marcin in the chaos is thriving. The Transcendence keeping the team alive, but the Coalescence committed by Aniki is turning this one back on its head. And Ray Dragons, just in the nick of time, are gonna be able to finish off.
The contest from Lord Kama, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I mean, that's going to be a point taken here in the extra innings from Ray Dragons, on the back of some really good support play from Aniki. Dropping that Coalescence in there, they just weren't able to burn down the Moira fast enough and, you know, really kept that push alive. 30 seconds given extra on the clock here as they push on to point B. I don't know if they necessarily have enough in the tank to do it, but, you know, Wolves could initiate this with a Bob, at least at the last second to start the overtime to burn in.
This is going to be so tough, though. Echo has the Blizzard. The Bob is there on the other side. The Supercharger about to be available for Munch and Mouse. So many tools for the side of Catana to finish this one off, to hold Ray Dragons to the single point. Samuos is down. The Bob is dealt with. And all of the kills are flowing through for Catana right now. They've got that Supercharger. They've still got the Blizzard as the ace in the hole. No one can stand on this point. And the Rip Tire, a little too late for Reno Miz. Ray Dragons held to a single point, but given where we were on point A, that was more than they probably thought they had for a second there.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened on Junkertown. If you remember, you know, Ray Dragons were up 1-0 going into Junkertown, and Catana only had 1 minute in the time bank, and they went 1.5 points through Junkertown and ended up getting the full hold to take the point there. So I think, you know, you have to have that in the back of your mind if you're Ray Dragons, is that it's never over until it's over. Even though there is still, I mean, there's an extra minute on top of it. And looking at how fast they aggress through point A, man, I think that, you know, it favors Catana right now. They just got to marshal their defenses right.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they can play this really, you know, patiently on the side of Catana. Like, you've got 4.5 minutes, and you know, as long as you get point A, you guarantee yourself at least the tie here. But you know, given the way their attack went the last time around, they've got to be feeling pretty confident at this point. But still, the execution needs to be there, and we're going to see a little bit of a change here from the side of Ray Dragons. They're going with the Orisa Roadhog as their tank line this time around, so potential to set up some of those hooks for Sharky with the halts.
Once again, I love Lucio pick here. They're going to speed into them, and they're going to be able to amp up heals a lot better. It's going to take a little bit of the pressure off of Kaisha on the Moira. Nice wall to separate off the team there.
Oh, and now that's Samuel's caught off a little bit, but still, there's so much damage coming out from the DPS and from Sharky that the Ray Dragons, they're able to stabilize. Catana can't really punish with that nice wall from Echo, and you know, for now the defense hold.
And Creep threw up a very important immortality field there, really denying the usage of that Echo wall that was thrown out there for the May. And I'm thinking, you know, that is the win condition right now. You've got to be able to separate and get into them fast enough that really negate that barrier.
Yeah, another good wall there has cordoned off the tanks, and this time Sharky will be going down. Samuels might be the next to fall as the freeze comes in. Both tanks are gone here. The Coalescence committed by Aniki to try and keep this one going. The Riptire might have been the saving grace, but Marcin able to find the shot, deal with that still. Reno Myth finding the kill there, but the advantage firmly in favor of Catana at this point. Wolves doing their best to keep this one going, finding a triple kill, make that 4, and somehow they've done it.
Wow, that is a very impressive, not only Bob, but also the immortality barrier, and Wolves clicking heads. Not only with the Viper, but getting a lot of the exit kills with the Dynamite. And you've got to think right now, this is getting to be a frenetic point for Catana, as you know, their time advantage is being whittled down so fast.
No, I mean, now if you're Ray Dragons, this is the point where the full hold starts to feel like it's a possibility. But still, look at all the ults about to come in from Catana. They've got the grab and the shatter ready to go. Munch and Mouse has fallen in the trade there for Sharky, but the grab in over the top is giving them an opportunity to continue this push. The sound barrier gives them all the health that they need, and you know, unless some more heroics come in from the DPS, it's not going to happen this time around. Ray Dragons can't pull off 2 miracles in a row, and Catana, they get point A.
And I mean, wow, this switch over from Marsan onto the McCree, we haven't seen the McCree all day long, and then already showing up and showing out. Already has the Deadeye online. So you've got Blizzard and Deadeye and Nano Boost and the Shatter available going into this point B of Volskaya. The snowball potential is absolutely real and absolutely lethal.
A clear opportunity here for Catana to finish this out to force us to a map 5. Aniki, though, managing to get an early pickoff onto Echo. I have to imagine the Junkrat spam playing a big part in that one as well from Reno Miz. And Katana just going to back off. They know that they've still got time to work with. This is what they earned with that insane push the first time around. The chance to play it calm and cool as they try and finish off the
Depends on how they're going to path on this. I mean, Sharky looking very lethal over here.
That's definitely in a sneaky spot here, but misses the hook and burned down immediately. The stun is fantastic, and now an opportunity for Catana to continue pushing forward. They've lost a couple members in the meantime, though, but the Blizzard is big from Echo, and they are slowly kind of finding the kills here, but still the DPS of Ray Dragons stand strong at the end of the fight, and they hold him off.
There was a lot of ultimates invested on both sides. I mean, you had Coalescence come out, you had Bob come out, you had the Tire come out. Also on the other side for Catana, though, Deadeye came out. The Nano Boost came out, and also the Sound Barrier came out. Echo swapping over to the Reaper right now to maybe take care of Sharky on her preferred Roadhog.
Yeah, and I like this swap because it'll give them a way to kind of follow up on the Graviton Surge in just a second. The Road Whole Hog coming out from Sharky finds two immediately, and things starting to look pretty dicey here for Catana. They've only got 20 seconds left. Not enough time to necessarily get a full regroup here, but Marson is in a sneaky spot right now. This could be trouble for the side of Ray Dragons. He finds the pick. He takes out Wolves. The nice headshots coming through there to finish off the Ash. The opening pick is massive in this instant, but Marson has been dealt with in the back. But still, finally, this composition getting into the range it wants to brawl at the Sound Barrier to close things out. No one able to touch Catana at the 11th hour. They finish it off of Volskaya. They force us to map 5. They tie up the series. What a match.
I mean, you can't ask for more. Playoff lives on the line right now, and Catana on facing down match point, and went ahead and just delivered the goods. Marson going over to the now was one of the biggest changes that they made to their assignments or to the lineup, and Lord Kama on the Lucio, not only being able to provide the speed, but also the Sound Barrier in that last moment, and Marsan getting the execution onto the Ash of Wolves really denied any kind of a movement going in and securing that last point for them.
Yeah, I really I gotta say I'm kind of surprised after what we saw on Blizzard World that Katana was able to fight that back in the way that they were. It wasn't the double shield that we saw from them on Junkertown. It wasn't the same kind of style that they have excelled on earlier on in the series. They show off a lot of flexibility here. They kind of match Ray Dragons in terms of playing the Reinhardt for much of that map, and they really come up big when it matters. They finish off Volskaya, and this is turning into such an incredible series. I'm very impressed with how Katana has managed to fight this back.
So now going forward, here on out, I mean, the double shielding from Katana has been very effective. But they also, when they decide that they really want to be aggressive and kind of matching what Ray Dragons has shown the entire match, they might have the slight edge in the aggression, especially being willing to bring out the Lucio instead of the extended sustain of the Ana Moira being shown by Ray Dragons for most of the day. I think that they have the slight advantage right now. I think that the wind is in their sails. I mean, it's gone back and forth all day. Map 5, Nepal, double shields is very, very real here.
No, definitely. I mean, especially if you're looking at a point like Sanctum, the long sight lines that you've got there. really lend themselves to those pokier compositions that Katana have brought out so often throughout this series. So that's a possibility. The other points, Village, very much a brawl map. I think that kind of leans towards Ray Dragons perhaps a little bit, but I think this is going to be very, very close. Both these teams told us that Nepal is their favorite control map to play. So I think we're going to have two teams that are very well practiced, very well versed on how to approach this final map.
I really like that you bring out that there are three possible uh, composition styles here for Nepal. I think it's one of the few maps that you can run three completely separate metas and compositions. And I give the edge in the double shield to Katana still. I think that the Love Maki on the Sigma is one of the bigger points here during the day, is that their off tank play. I think that I give the slight edge to Love Maki on the off tank role, even though Sharky she has been showing up in huge ways, especially on the Roadhog. I don't know how good the Roadhog is going to be here though, especially with the double shielding, getting a hook in there, especially on Sanctum, because you're everybody wants to go in there and get boops and throw people into the pit of hell, and I think that Sharky might be played out here or outplayed. Should Hakaisha play the Zenyatta again and get that Discord orb onto them, uh, you know, the focus fire's got to be there though. That's the one thing that I still have not seen enough of, is the focus fire onto a discorded enemy. We just don't see it enough.
No, that's true, and I mean, I think that might be part of why we saw Katana shift a little bit there, go over to that Lucio Baptiste as their support lineup on Volskaya at times. If they can continue to kind of translate that into success, Nepal is looking like a pretty good place for them to try and close out this series. It's been incredibly hard fought up to this point. We've seen such impressive individual play coming out from so many members. I mean, I feel like pretty much every single player through the series has had their moments where they are kind of the one shining, where they are the one making the big plays that matter the most for their team. So I'm excited to see who is going to be the person to kind of step up here on Nepal.
Indeed, I think that Renam right now is one of the stars for Ray's Dragons, as the Junkrat play coming out from them has been absolutely huge, not only in destroying the shielding of Katana, but also the tires that have come out. Maybe not 4 or 5 man tires, but the picks that they get are crucial picks, and also has done a very good job of not only negating the immortality barrier, but also being able to deny, either a sound barrier or a nano boost. So we really need to look at see who's going to step up here in our final match, or in our final map here in this tied series between Ray Dragons and Katana.
Yeah, this is going to be a fascinating way to close out the series. One of these teams will get the victory after this map. So a lot on the line here for these two teams, both sitting at 500, both kind of right on the edge of playoffs at this point. So this win is massive for whoever is able to pull it out. And we are going to start off on Sanctum. So I'm curious, especially to see what Sharky goes with here on this map. The Roadhog could be a potential power pick if she can continue landing some of these hooks, pull people into the pit. I'm very excited for what she might have in store.
There's also the sneakiness of a Wrecking Ball. Wrecking Ball can get lots of environmental kills if you grapple at the right spot and catch them unawares, which we only saw Samoas come out last map with a defensive Wrecking Ball. Now Sharky going onto it and maybe trying to get positioning on the point or get behind Catana and be able to push them into that aforementioned pit of hell. But double shields coming out again from Catana, and I like this play.
Yeah, and that means that they're not likely to push straight onto the point, but Samoas is actually going to try to take that position really early. The shield melted immediately. Now he's forced into the corner. The halt pulls him out, and Munchenmouth able to finish off the kill there. Excellent stuff there from Catana. They play their comp exactly like you want. They stay on the corner, they fire into the point, and they just poke down the members of Ray Dragon. Sharky taking the lover's leap there with Akaisha. They both head off the map there, and at the end of the day, Catana coming out on top.
And I like the rotation that Ray Dragons was trying to do there, trying to get into the back line and kind of do a little flanky flank onto Catana, but Love Maki with the experimental barrier being able to sniff that out and take down the Junkrat with relative ease. Capture going to them. Nice little halt there from Munching Mouse as he tries to really deny the shielding of Samoas, and Discord Orb is there. But I'm looking to see what kind of a rotation they're going to make here, because right now, you know, the halt could be a big play.
Creep somehow managing to pick off Munchenmouth from afar. There had to be a Bionade to cut off the healing or something. Now Sharky dealing with Lord Kama as well. The hook lands that time. Able to get Echo as well, but the Hanzo able to climb right back up that wall, so no harm really done, and Echo manages to punish them, keeping him alive at that point. Still, somehow Catana, after losing those first couple of picks, have turned things around, are sustaining through this fight. Now Samoas in a bit of an awkward spot, will be taken down, and Catana, they are on a roll right now.
Yeah, they are firing on all cylinders. Even when they seem to lose a player out of their composition, one of the two tanks is always putting a presence onto the point, and they haven't really lost any kind of momentum. And I like the fact that they're trying to do this this kind of side aggression, catching the flankers as they come in, you know, and still maintaining their point presence. I like it. 3 ultimates online for Catana right now. I think you have to look at what's going on. Having to invest that Gravitic Flux. Sharky got the hook on him and almost died.
Yes, does get the take a breather in though. He's kind of pushing them away, but Marcin just sitting over in this corner completely unopposed, firing through the Ant Matrix. Wolves eventually answers back a little bit here, but now it's just Wolves on the point trying to dual Love Maki. Maki with the clutch, 10 HP or so remaining at the end, and clutches it out for Catana.
Oh my goodness, and the skill orb came in and took that last little 10%, 10 HP, but it was too little too late as they do take the first point here at Sanctum. And now it looks like we're going to go to Village. And once again, you know, this could be a very brawly map. And double shield in a brawl, it depends on if you have the speed to aggress behind it. I like the May Reaper pick that they are showing at the moment. Death Blossom into a grab could be absolutely lethal. But the speed, I think they've realized that the speed is what's winning them some of these matches here.
Yeah, and I also love what they're doing. They're running the Symmetra here, which means they're definitely getting to the point first. They've got the speed boost and the teleporter to make sure that they're going to have the positioning they want. The turrets are going to be able to set up there for Marcin. And already, you know, Catana off to a good start here on Village. They've got the May, you know, locked into this point, constantly looking for an opportunity to wall someone off. Early Immortality Field forced out now from Creep. That resource is absolutely massive in these longer fights. Cooldown so punishing. So, you know, Ray Dragons, they can't even really contest the point after that. They have to give up the cap pretty much for free, and that's entirely off the back of that Lucio and the Symmetra. But Catana still just keeping it going right now. The beam for Marcin is so high charge right now. It just melts through these tanks. But the Coalescence for Aniki is letting Ray Dragons push forward the wall, preventing that aggression a little bit here. And Samuel's going so low. The Shatter, though, is big. Deals with Munchenmouth. And now an opportunity for Ray Dragons to push forward even into that wall from Marcin. They've still got the man advantage. They've still got the Blizzard on the point coming down from Reno Miz, and then the grab might just finish it off, but somehow the sustain is there for Catana. In the meantime, this fight just breaking down on all fronts. We've got a 2v2, but the shield is there, and Lord Kama with the 3K.
Oh, Kama, you little assassin, you. Speed kills. Once again, we say it again. Kama was able to go down in the early part of that fight, get back onto the point, and really take it to the members of Ray Dragon as we are on match point for both teams here. 71% and counting, and Echo has an all-important Blizzard online ready to go.
Yeah, indeed they do, and that's going to be massive with the grab as well. The Death Blossom in the back does open things up for Ray Dragons. They're finally going to be able to win a fight here on Nepal, but it comes at the last possible moment. 90% still going to be garnered here, 90+% for Catana. They'll need just one fight to close out this series, and they've got the ults to do it.
You know, if 94% on their first aggression to the point, I mean, Echo really showing up on this May, keeping the stall and getting an extra 10% before they finally lose their life. Blizzard grab available, also the Coalescence to keep the team up, and just going into a Coalescence to be able to maintain this point presence.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a lot on the shoulders of these supports to keep everyone alive through this fight. The grab comes down from Love Maki. The wall from Reno Miz is massive, though, keeping them alive for the time being. Even with the Blizzard coming in, the kills are relatively even right now. As Ray Dragon's trying to keep this one going, they are dealing with the Coalescence on the other side coming through from Kaisha. The sound barrier still there for Lord Kama, but hesitating to commit it into this fight. For now, they back off just a little bit. They're looking to regroup fully before they go back in, but Ray Dragons hold strong for now.
I think that you want to kind of aggress with this sound barrier, get in there and get the immortality field out, and then start swinging the hammer. Munchkin Mouse does have the shatter available online.
Yeah, but there's the grab out from Sharky. It's probably going to force out the sound barrier. It's there in response from Lord Kama, so no kills just yet. The shatter is big, but the immortality field keeping everyone alive for the time being on the side of Ray Dragons. The Blizzard out from Reno Miz could be the game changer, could push them over the line here as they find the kills. One by one, Catana are falling, and just when it looked like they had a chance to finish off this series, Ray Dragons come up big, and they should have this in the bag now.
There from Remanez, that's going to deny them being able to touch the point. What a play! Oh,
the wall from Reno Miz and the charge from Samuwas prevents any opportunity for a recontest. And Ray Dragons, they hang on by a thread.
My goodness, this is coming down to the very last map here in Nepal to decide who's going to go to 5-4 and keep their playoff chances really alive, and who is going to maybe be looking at the next season of Get Good potentially. I mean, I'd love to see. I would love to see a Sombra come out. I think a Sombra would be so beneficial here, especially onto either a Nikki or onto Sharky to deny the bubbles coming out right now. I like the Symmetra play again, though, coming from Echo.
Definitely here where, it's a little bit harder to use on this point than on Village, but still, it gets them there first. It gets them the first kill onto Samuwas, and that is exactly the start that Catana were looking for here on Shrine, as they continue to just force Ray Dragons back. No way they can contest this first cap.
Absolutely not. And I mean, the spam damage coming in from Reno is once again really good, but there's not enough focus behind it. What are they aiming at? That's the question that I really want to ask myself. And Love Maki coming out onto the Diva is going to be able to mitigate a lot of the damage coming into Marcin. Showing up with the McCree again.
Yeah, Wolves is taken down, but still, Ray Dragons trying to keep this fight going. They got an opportunity here if they can push forward. But Reno is just getting completely zoned out by Love Maki right now. The Junkrat pretty much a non-factor in these fights at the moment, still trying to spam away from the high ground, but in an awkward spot to do so. As Ray Dragons haven't been able to find any kind of opening here. They're about to have this Amp Matrix. They throw the Fire Strike through there. Can't quite find the kills, but the Shatter knocks down 2 and gives them a chance to push forward. The support ultimates being traded right now. The Coalescence for the sound barrier here. And, Munchausen still standing strong in this fight, coming back into it, surging forward, and Catana continue to get the cleanup.
You do lose Munching Mouse into that fight of the Renomiz Junkrat being able to take down their main tank, but Echo does get the revenge kill onto Renomiz. Tire, Bob, and Grab all available to Rage Dragons. Coming into this next fight, Marson may be able to get to a good position for this Deadeye.
See what you can get done, just kind of forcing everyone back for the time being. Does find Wolves long range there. Wolves up on the high ground, not able to get out of line of sight in time. And Marson getting another kill there onto the Samuel. This fight going in the favor of Catana once again. But Random is trying to save the team here. The Rip Tire finds 2 and an opportunity for Ray Dragons to push in here. They've got to do it now. This is their last chance, but they are dropping one by one. There are 4 of them remaining on the point here. Samuel buying time with this Wrecking Ball. The Diva Bomb out from Love Maki, though, is going to be able to deal with that giant ball, and no one else can stand strong. Ray Dragons come up just short, and Catana finish off the series.
Woo, boy, that was a back and forth series if I have ever seen one. And the ability to be more flexible, I think, is what won Catana the series in the end. Here's that free take coming from the little Brazilian healer. You gotta love it. And man, just so much ability to stay together as a team, and the ability to not only compositionally shift, but also within your own role, be able to bring out heroes that just weren't expected. I think that the unpredictability of Catana is what really secured the match and series win for them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to just admire just the spunk of the chutzpah of Catana in this moment to bring this one back. It's really impressive to me. To be totally honest, that after Blizzard World, mentally, I thought this was going in the direction of Ray Dragons. I thought they really had this in the bag, given the way that they were playing at the time. But Catana, they find some answers. We talked about earlier on in the series how they were a little all over the place. They were constantly like swapping picks and trying to find an answer, but eventually they get there. They find a way to bring this series back. A lot of it comes from putting Lord Kama on that Lucio there for both Volskaya and the final map at times, and they really come through in the clutch when it matters. They move to 5-4, and now they give themselves a shot here to make playoffs.
Indeed, and I think that was the only 2 maps won back to back the entire day, and was on the back of a Lucio play, getting the mobility into their team. And I think that once they did that, I mean, it was game over for Rage Dragons. So good showing from both teams. I don't want to take anything away from Ray Dragons, but man, what a dominating and really smart use there on Nepal, using the little Brazilian healer to keep the team up.
And the thing is, we're not even done yet. This is just the first match of the day here. We'll be back in just a little bit with an expert division game between Nike Exiles and B Swarm. That's going to be a fantastic series to watch. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side of this break.